Hi everyone, welcome to another week's edition of Mind Money Methods Market Weekly Scan. So today is actually 2nd of December, Wednesday. So it is a Wednesday, and I've been chosen the Wednesday slot really to start scanning because really we've had Monday, Tuesday, and it's good for an example on where the market's going and what's been happening, so we can actually talk about a few things. So it's not to say that I enter into the markets only on a Wednesday or look at it. I actually always scan on my Monday mornings, and I've got my set routines. But I just like to make these videos on a Wednesday. So in any case, let's move on. We've got the dollar index as per usual, and we've been talking quite a bit about the dollar index over the last few weeks, and we've made the right calls that you can go back for any of you and want to go and see the videos we have made. Really to say that we were looking at the dollar index, the dollar to really be bullish and continue its movement up. It has done that, and we were talking about a big key level around this 10,000 mark, which is on my screen. On some other trading platforms, you'll probably see it as a 100. But it's really this key level over here where it's been about a big discussion on what we're thinking where price may go. So I mean, if we look across this is the monthly, this is the weekly, this is the daily, this is the weekly, and this is the monthly. And if we look, last month, let's go to the monthly over here. I mean, we can see it was really bullish months for the dollar index, and our indicators were really in convergence with that, showing that we had a really bullish month. And obviously, it's the beginning of a new month now. Where could we see price going? I mean, if we look back over here, potential for price to break on and carry on going upwards is absolutely the case. So we can certainly carry on moving upwards in an upward direction, and although it's slightly looking like a red candle over there, I think still the momentum definitely for the dollar is on an upward trend. If we look at the weekly, we can see it's still looking bullish, although this candle over here is, it's the beginning of a new week, it's the middle of the week, but we're still looking that from there's no, the only kind of, if I was going to look at this, obviously, which we do from a purely technical aspect, on the daily, I do see some slight divergence with the indicators, very, very slight with the indicators, which sometimes, not all the times, we use it as a leading indicator to tell us that potentially we may have a change in trend. And if we look over here, we've actually got this over here on our indicators showing that price is really on an upward trend, and our indicators are actually doing the opposite. So potential divergence taking place potentially means a change in trend, although in this particular instance, I would still think that we are definitely on a bullish run over here. And we've really come to these levels over here. The potential is price can pull back, and we can go carry on to our the 200 mark. That is definitely on the cards, and we're formulating actually a lovely, let me just maximize this over here, we're formulating a lovely candle over here in the sell zone, which potentially is a setup whereby we can really put in a tight stop loss and for moves onto the upside. So bullish, I would say, sentiment on the dollar index is that it's still looking very bullish, but there is potential of divergence. We need to keep an eye on that, and we need to make sure that if we are going to place any trades, that we keep it really tight and we stick to our rules, and we don't risk more than that 1% on this particular trade. In fact, if I was going to go for this, it would be less than 1% in terms of if I was going to enter into the market for this. And I tell you what, I'm probably looking to do that, folks. So potentially going to be doing this on the dollar index after this. In fact, I might even put an entry onto the long side. So we're going to put in a stop really tight with an entry above there looking to the long side, that is a part of my plan. And I know I normally tell you about my plan later on in the video, but I'm telling you my plan this week on the dollar index. It's still looking potentially bullish, definitely not bearish, so it's more bullish, and there is clear trend. So I'm going to probably put in an entry over here at about the 1020 with a stop really tight at about 9980. And we're going to see how we go. I'm happy to risk that, very happy to risk that. So as you can see, the word which is strong coming out my mouth, I'm very happy to risk that. So as long as you're happy to risk what you're about to put in terms of any trade and whatever you're going to place, as long as you're happy to risk what you're going to do and the technical indicators are lining up, then go for it, and it goes according to your trading plan, then go for it. So if we just quickly go through other currencies over here, I really like the look of this US dollar to the Swiss franc. This is really, look at this beautiful trend. I mean, we've got the indicators spread lovely. If we had a 50 and a 200, that would be spread out lovely. I don't have it on this chart package. However, we've had a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. We can see a lovely pattern forming, and this is looking once again. Although if we come over to the weekly over here, what are we bound to see over here? Probably bound to see some sort of pullback on the weekly, which at when I can't tell you that, but I'm probably going to see some sort of pullback. But we've already had the pullback on the daily, but I'm probably expecting that this trend will continue. I don't see any reason why it won't. We've already broken, if there was some sort of resistance level over here, although it's not, it was only once, it was a major one, and then it bounced off. So actually, if we go and look at this a little bit better, yeah, we've already broken that. So I mean, potentially this trend could carry on. So the dollar strengthening against the Swiss franc. It's certainly also another chart that I will be looking at, a currency pair which is looking very interesting for trades to the long side. If we go to the New Zealand to the US dollar, yeah, messy chart, not much to talk about, and certainly no interest there for me. Moving on to the British pound to the US dollar. Well, I mean, I've been saying a lot over the last few weeks, it's just nothing over here that would have interested me, and it still doesn't interest me because I don't like these long moves to the long downside or to the upside and long big candles. To me, it's too risky. That's something that is just part of my trading plan, and that I don't like trading off charts where there are big long candles. It seems to be too risky for me. Yes, if you catch it to the right side, you can make a lot of money. Agreed, but we've got to try and treat this as a business. And my trading plan says don't take any charts with massive big candles. I mean, something like this where we've got it is a downtrend, although not totally clear, but technically we're in a downtrend. Over here, technically we are in a downtrend as well. However, it's not something that is interesting me. Certainly to this point around here, but now that these candles are starting to slowly get a bit smaller, we've got to pull back into the sell zone. We've got trends, really downtrend on the daily, the weekly. Potentially there could be some sort of setup at some point, but right now the British British pound to the US dollar, still not of any interest to me, but I do keep my eye on it. So if we look at the, this is a better chart, folks. So if you can see what I mean here, but in terms of candles, look at that. I mean, it's just better to trade off a chart like this, much better, and we can actually see the defined downtrend down over here. We can actually see it very clearly, and it's just easier to make your assessment of the other chart. Well, let's go look at one more chart before we finish up. And actually, I'm going to take you on to actually a commodity. Let's go and look at silver. If we look at silver, I mean, we've had some serious downtrend over there. Now we've got some consolidation. So this is another chart I'm looking at to see which way the spot, and I can assure you gold is going to be very similar. So I'm looking at this from just a stalking point of view to see which way potentially we're going to go with this commodity or carry on its downtrend to the downside, or are we going to start actually seeing a turn in the direction of and a break to the upside? So, folks, my plan for this week is definitely on the dollar index. Probably going to be putting in a trade shortly to set up. In fact, I am going to do it. Can't say definitely and probably in one sentence. So I'm going to make my mind up, and my mind is I am going for it, and I am happy to be risking that 0.5% or 1% of my trading pot in order to enter into the market for the long side, and then we will manage that trade accordingly. So let's just go back to recap on that one. So going to be looking to place a trade very shortly to the upside, and then a very tight stop. So that is it, folks. I mean, we could also put in an entry over here, really at the top of this candle, with a stop at the bottom over there. So, and then we're going to be placing it for the long side. So that's my trading plan for this week. I could also probably look at the Swiss franc to the dollar to the Swiss franc, and probably go maybe 0.5% on both, since I'm trading both dollar currencies to different currency pairs. But I could probably split my risk at 0.5% on each currency pair. So that's really my plan for the week. And folks, yeah, we wish you a happy trading week and all the best. Any questions, info@mindmoneymethod.com. Please visit our website, and we look forward. We've been taking a lot of requests lately, which has been awesome. A lot of interest gathering in for Mind Money Method, and we're excited to be working with those of you that we're already working with. So happy trading, everyone, and we will catch up with you next week. Thank you. Cheers.